Resident Evil 4 is known as one of the best games of all time. So how do you do a remake of a game that most people consider perfect? And for most people that would be an impossible task. Not for me though, because I don't like Resident Evil 4. Before you go to the comments and tell me how much of a brain-dead Neanderthal I am, or that I should be spit roasted like a Sunday turkey, let me acknowledge something. I know I'm in the massive minority of people when I say I don't like this game. What can I say? I'm just built diff. Thankfully though, I can redeem myself in front of gamerkind by saying, I like the remake. So this is why the Resident Evil 4 remake is better than the original. To start off the video, let me give some context on why I don't like the original RE4. Before playing it, I was under the impression that it had fallen from gamer heaven only to be accidentally acquired by us mere mortals. Probably less than halfway through the game, I realized this game was sent up from hell, only to be a form of cruel punishment. Loud, Jungle, how could you say that? Because compared to the other ones I've played, RE4 kinda duty. As a disclaimer, I've only played 1 through 4, 7 and 8, so I can't compare it to 5 and 6 or any spin-offs. There's two main reasons why I believe this unhinged opinion. The first being that I was 20 years old when I played it, 15 years after the game came out. I ain't too picky with old game mechanics, even though this one was revolutionary in its time, it's a bit rough these days. And the same can be said for the story. Most of the time when I hear people gush about this game, it's because they played it when they were a kid, which I think is a huge reason why they love it. And that's completely understandable. If I was a 12-year-old playing this game with poo brain, I'd probably love the heck out of it too. But I think the more troubling and sinister problem I have with the game is that it completely changed the direction of the series. Resident Evil started as one of, if not the first, survival horror games, and that's how I was introduced to the series. My first game was Resident Evil 7, which went back to that gushy-lushy survival horror. That's what made me love the game so much, because at least nowadays, there's not a ton of survival horror games out there. At least not like Resident Evil. Then I played the Resident Evil 2 remake and Resident Evil 1. And gosh darn it did I love both of them. So when I played RE4, after everyone hyping it up so much, and expecting a more survival horror game from it, you have to understand, I was never gonna not be disappointed by it. Yeah, I love the lore, yeah, I love the cheesy voice acting, and the enduring cringe. But what I love the most about Resident Evil is that heart-racing survival horror gameplay. Though before I get gamers more mad than a gorilla when a child's in its cage, I'm gonna save myself from that gorilla. The remake was good. It set itself up in a good place to fix most of the problems I had with the original, because Capcom knew their mistakes they'd made, and I knew what to expect from the game. As I mentioned before, the shooting in the original RE4 is like something a little creature would leave behind.
A nasty smell.
It was so bad, I was considering not playing the rest of the game. And unlike most people, I like tank controls. I'm not going to take away from what this game did and say that without it, we wouldn't have gotten most of the over-the-shoulder third-person camera games that we have. At the same time though, I can admit, it doesn't age well. What the devs didn't understand, or more likely what they didn't have the technology to do, was that tank controls don't work without a static camera. When you turn the gameplay into a third-person House of the Dead, having to move, stop, and wiggle your stick around just to shoot makes the game more frustrating than fun. The remake takes its movement and aiming system from the RE2 and 3 remake, which makes the game a whole heck of a lot better to play. Sure, it's not perfect. I don't know anyone who likes Bloom, but it feels very modern, yet gives you the limited claustrophobic view that helps bring intensity to a fight. Even if I would have preferred they remade it into a more survival horror, limited resource gameplay loop, I completely acknowledge and understand this just ain't what the game is, and to turn it into something that it's not would take away the entire point of it being a faithful remake. Here we are again with another sudden interruption of a video to tell you some statistics. Over 99% of my viewers are not subscribed, and we're only about 250 subs away from a staggering 1,000. So, if you feel it's worth it, please do subscribe. We'd love to have you. If not, understandable. Have a nice day. Though for my own sanity, something that wasn't as faithful was the cheese. The cheese/cringe in this game is significantly reduced. Sure, it's still plenty present, but this is a Resident Evil game after all. I know a lot of people love the over-the-top cheese and cringe of the original, but I hate it. There is a base level of cheese/cringe in any Resident Evil game.
This way! That was too close. You were almost a Jill sandwich.
You're right. Barry, thanks for saving my life. But Barry...
But RE4 took that John a little too far. The remake brings things back down to earth a bit, making it a little more in line with the cheese levels of the other game. Yeah, Leon still roundhouse kicks elderly Spaniards and makes one-liners after facing the most vile creation the universe has ever seen, but it feels less frequent and less like it was written by an AI that watched too many 80s action movies. For people who say, I miss the one-liners, don't take them out, we still got them. The one-liners feel a lot better, even if I still think Leon wouldn't be spitting out one-liners, but then again, maybe his brain is so broken from Raccoon City that the Lovecraftian-like horrors he faces just don't shock him. The one-liners still got plenty of cheese. They're just updated to be less utterly cringe and borderline creepy. In the original, Leon is like a frat dude that likes calling everybody bro.
No thanks, bro.
The remake does a lot to improve this. I actually like some of the one-liners. One of them being...
Great. We all have names.
Again, it just feels more natural than the original. Thanks to the reduction in cringe, the story is also better. The characters don't feel like Saturday morning cartoons, more like Saturday night cartoons. Before, the only thing to come out of Leon's mouth were cringy Marvel-like quips, or calling people bro. He's still got the quip in the remake, though in the remake, he has an actual character, where he can take situations seriously and feel emotions when someone dies. He feels like a real person, because let's be honest, in the original, if someone died, he probably would have looked at the camera and said, that must have hurt, and proceeded to hit the gritty on his friend's corpse. They made all the characters better in the remake. Ramon is much better. Now he doesn't look like a baby-born surprise magic potty surprise doll. Ashley isn't a squirrel from Texas anymore. And Luis isn't a sexual predator anymore. I also like the slight redesign of the Plaga. It looks more like a parasite version of the T-Virus instead of Migi from Parasite the Maximum. One of the few things I will give credit for on the original is the villains were better in it. But you just said Ramon was better in the remake. What's going on? Ramon and Sadler are better in the remake, but we get a lot less of them. The original, they were omnipresent throughout the whole game. They felt like prominent characters trying to always stop us from reaching our goal. Though when they do show up in the remake, they feel a lot more toned down, and it's so much better that way. Genuinely, I think the game just massively benefited from taking a chill pill and calming down on the cringe. I know this is going to be a controversial video, but if you know my channel, and if you know me, that's what I do. For whatever reason, my brain is wired to have the hottest, most unpopular takes on anything. Though thankfully for me, only half this video will be controversial because my brain allowed me to like something for once. But what do you guys think? Do you like the remake? Do you think it's better than the original? Or do you want to roast me and label me the biggest loser on the beach? Either way, I want to hear what you guys have to say. So let me know in the comments, and thanks for watching.